Back, and we have our special guest of the evening. He is a top pro coach and has been confirmed to coach again at our upcoming Vegas Summit and has successfully signed players from our previously held Vegas camp. Welcome to the show, Coach Larry Lissette.
Well, thank you for having me.
Man, we appreciate you calling in, Coach. This is Brian. Definitely excited to have you back. This is going to be your third year in a row coaching at the Vegas camp?
Yes.
Well, I have one question. Why did you miss our first camp?
Because you didn't invite me.
Oh, okay. You always got the right answers. No, we definitely always like having you out. You really, you talk to the players, you keep it real with them. You talk to them about what it takes to be a pro, and then you look for talent at the camp. So, what has been your impression? Last 2 years. I know you signed a couple guys last year, but what's been your impression of the camps? What's the reason you keep coming back to coach?
Well, I think, Brian, I would give credit to the coaches from Europe that's come over. There was a couple coaches from Germany that said that it was the most organized and it looked professional. And again, you're not trying to knock the other people's camp, but they liked the fact that there was one game going on. It was the fact that they could talk to you or Mark about the players. They like having easier access to the players, and those would all be the same things that I like about it. Obviously, you've asked me to coach you and Mark, and so I like the fact that you allow me to coach the team, and so from that standpoint, it just runs very smoothly. And also, you guys do a great job of accommodating the NBA Summer League, since the Summer League starts at 1:00 in the afternoon game time. You basically get in, you can get out, and it just runs very smoothly.
Something that you like a lot about that, getting to work with potential players, getting to see how they react to certain things. Is there anything specific with that you enjoy?
Well, yes. There was one thing, like you and I had talked about last year. One of the things is I was looking at a couple of your guys, and it's kind of a plus, but it's also a minus, because if the guys don't play the way you kind of want them, it's basically a one-shot deal. But what I did find in coaching all your camps, what I have found is that it really becomes a greater asset, let's say, because I get to know the guys a little bit better, and as opposed to sitting in the stands and taking an evaluation from afar, as opposed to I'm coaching them, I see how they react to what I'm saying and so forth. So from that standpoint, it's actually been helpful. The other thing about the camp, I would say, camps are that they're very competitive. The teams are very competitive. So that means the talent level is high. And, you guys, you and Mark do a great job of not putting 12, 13 guys on a team. So I know the 1 year where I coached, my team won, the team that I coached won the championship. Basically, I wound up having only 6 guys. So they were happy when whatever guy got a break. So you guys set it up so it's fair to the players. And that's probably the best thing you and Mark do. You allowed me to work him out at your camp, and Sam and I had a connection, coached him one game, and I liked the way that we were going to play. I liked what Sam brought to the table. So, again, without the vehicle of your camp, I probably wouldn't have taken those 2 guys.
I'm going to let you talk about your favorite player. You call me your adopted son. He came out 2 years ago to the Vegas Summit, ran away, helped you win the championship, won the MVP, has gone on, done some big things. Is Alfonso McKinney, probably be playing in NBA Summer League this year. And I know heading into that camp, you've been training him in the summer, trained us some last year. What's been the biggest thing that he's developed, and what did you see in him that could other players could possibly show you that you can get to the highest level?
Well, first of all, I had seen Al on film for a friend of mine that's an agent, and the agent wasn't that sold on him. I said, no, you better sign him. Now, what I saw was, I normally don't do this in evaluation, but what I did was I looked at his best game, and I saw some things in his best game, and so then the relationship started. We had talked, and he was all on board. Now, the thing with Alfonso, if I kid him because it's Alfonso, he completely bought into having his game made over, and then doing some of the things that he wasn't allowed to be able to do in college. And again, not any disrespect to his college coach in any way, but we worked on the things that he wanted to do. And so those are the things that the NBA teams that he's worked out for and have all offered him for the summer, this coming summer. Those are all things that they wanted. Now, I will say this, and again, this for the listeners, I'm not doing this to just sell, the McNeely camps, but if Al had not played that summer, my team wouldn't have won the championship, but more importantly, Al wouldn't have gotten the exposure that he needed. And so what I know the New York Knicks saw him play at the camp, and I know the thing that everybody saw in Al was his transformation. And that's, that's the biggest thing for a player is wherever they're at, even the guys getting drafted now, tonight, there's got to be a transformation because basically when the night's over with, reality sets in. And if you can't help a team win, you become, you become very, not interesting now to a team. And the player of the month now is over. And that's one thing I will say on behalf of Al. Al realizes that, and he's really working at always, trying to refine his game. And that's what you have to do if you want to play at that level.
Yeah, a lot of players, they always want to know about our tour teams. We try to give them the details. Well, you have, firsthand experience getting to coach against our tour team that we took down there to Mexico. So talk about that. I know you guys ended up signing Stephen Briggs from the team. Just talk about the opportunity, for players that go on that and what, like, from your perspective, you got a team coming in and playing a couple of games against them, what it's like and what you would have to do to basically get you to sign them over a guy that they already have there.
Well, first of all, players have to realize that, and players always expect coaches and agents to be perfect. And the truth of the matter is unfortunately, this is not an exact science. And so touring teams can be very, very helpful. And I would even go back even more so to Corey, that I had to twist your arm to take down to Costa Rica, because and not to get away from Steve, but you get guys on your touring teams and they get jobs. Because what happens is that they play well against the team, just like Steve did against my team. And what happens at that point is that the organization realizes, we made a mistake. And so the better organizations and the ones that go, okay, let's make a move because it's the right thing to do to make our team better. So what players have to realize is that, especially guards, you might be really good. And for whatever reason, you don't make someone doesn't give you a job, but if you go on a touring team, all of a sudden you might get that job because you're there, your bags are packed. They don't, they don't have to worry about flying you in. So again, you just have to stay ready, and you have to look at everything as a possibility, as opposed to, I didn't get a job because I went to this camp. No, there's other vehicles and opportunities.
What does a player really need to do? What's like the biggest thing he needs to do when coming in, if he's on your team or if he's not on your team, to impress you and make you want to sign him?
Well, I think you and Mark would both agree with this, and I say this respectfully. A lot of times, if you're not an American coach, you look at the game differently. Sometimes I don't think Europeans or Asians look at it. They don't look at it the same way we do, and I think they make mistakes. So for me, like when I talk with coaches, especially the German contingency that came to your camp, one of the things that I told them, I said, if you take an American, I said, you've got to make sure that that American can guard their position and preferably two positions. So if you get a guy 6'3", can he guard a 1? Can he guard a 3? So I think, individual defense on the ball is really important. I think the second thing, and this is where I think a lot of teams get lost, and that is obviously the better you shoot the basketball, the better it is because you can put the ball in the basket. Okay, that's obvious, that's a given. But I think sometimes teams get just stuck into that. So again, if you get a guy that can, play multiple positions, that can shoot it, that becomes an asset. And you can pretty much tell if a guy can do that or not. And I think going back to something, the kind words Mark said about me, but the coaches you've had at your camp, the one thing that they've all stressed is pass the basketball. Because one thing, if you go to these camps and a guy never passes, and a guy gets 2 shots, he makes one, and maybe one's kind of a brick, then you go, I don't know if he can shoot. But if a guy gets 8 shots up and he makes 5, you go, oh, he can shoot. And that's a byproduct of how you and Mark have organized the camp, and the fact that you've got coaches that are strong enough to make the guys make the extra pass and so forth. So that would be, that's the starting point, I guess. And then the other thing I would say is I am really, and Brian, you know me well, I'm really big into the interview process. So the one thing that Las Vegas does is if a guy plays really good the first day of the camp, but he stays out all night, I mean, you got issues. And so with all of that being said, the character part then comes in next. So what do you offer defensively? How well can you shoot it? Can you play multiple positions? And then your character. Because your character doesn't work, you're going to wind up probably sending the guy home anyway.
For any players out there that might want to contact you, is there an email, anything they can reach you out, Snapchat?
I don't have a problem giving my phone number out. My phone number is 515-745-4455, and my email is lrlessett@msn.com.
Okay, great. Yeah, any players want to reach out to you, any advice, or if they're coming to the camp, they might want to send you some stuff leading into it. We'll try not to send out to anybody that's going to spam you up. But
right.
Thanks for coming on the show. Look forward to seeing you here in a couple of weeks out there in Las Vegas.
Sounds good. Well, Mark and Brian, thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to see you guys here in a couple of weeks.